What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So, I have a clip to show you guys. This is Representative Mike Collins. He is going to be talking about Social Security. He's going to be talking about Medicaid. And if you guys didn't know, this big, beautiful bill was passed by the House just last week or week before last. And now it's in the Senate. And so we're going to see if the Senate's going to make any changes to this bill. But he is talking about Social Security. He's talking about Medicaid and talking about how people need to basically essentially go back to work. So I'm going to show you this clip and then we'll talk a little bit about it. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, let's go ahead. Let me play this for you guys. And I might have to play it more than once, but let's play it first time. Here we go.
You've got spending and you've got revenue. And you set it up to where you can increase your revenue, and you do that by lowering taxes and making it more advantageous for people to work and to get off of Medicaid, get off of Social Security, get back into the workforce, and that decreases it on that side of the equation as well, on the mandatory side.
Okay, so essentially what he's saying there, and he's talking about Medicaid. That's the first thing he talked about, but then he talked about Social Security. I'm pretty sure he was probably talking about disability, Social Security disability, as well as regular Social Security, so retirees and the disabled. But the goal there is he's saying that if we lower taxes, that will incentivize people to work and we can get people back to work. So people who are currently receiving Medicaid, they can get back out in the workforce. People who are receiving Social Security disability, they somehow they can get back out in the workforce, but they're disabled. That's why they're receiving benefits. But in some way, those people will go back to work, and then people on Social Security, retirees, can go back to work. They'll be incentivized because of tax cuts. So I don't know if you believe that. I don't believe it at all. I don't think we're in a situation where if we had tax cuts and understand what he's saying here, because he's talking about tax cuts, but the tax cuts that he's talking about that would help the middle of the road, middle class, working class, the poor, those taxes, we heard what? No tax on tips. That's temporary. That's only 3 years. No tax on overtime. That's also temporary. That's only 3 years. And so I don't really know what he's referring to there. Child tax credit, that's temporary as well. I mean, we're looking at these tax cuts that the reality is it's a joke. It really is. It's just to say we did it, but they're not making it permanent. So just when people get comfortable with receiving these credits, they're going to be gone. And what will still be around? The 2017 tax cuts. Those will still be around. And so some politicians, and I just wanted to show you this because I want you to understand, some politicians, their goal is to get people to go back to work, even people who are retired. So if you put them in a situation, and we've seen this time and time again, where you're receiving Social Security benefits, but it's not enough. You can't pay your bills. You can't, you can't eat. And so what do? At 70, at 75, you go back to work. And some politicians are okay with that. They think that's good. When other people are looking at this, people who are retired are saying, I don't want to go back to work. I can't go back to work. I physically cannot go back to work. But you have some politicians that don't think it's a big deal. They don't think it's a big deal if you just continue to work. There was a popular YouTuber, Ben Shapiro, that was actually talking about this. He thinks that people shouldn't be retiring at all. They should continue to work. But he wasn't taking into account that you have different type jobs. Some people work behind a desk. That might be easy to do that for years. You can be in your 70s, maybe even in your 80s if you're sitting at a desk. If you are, a teacher or a professor, you might be able to do that. But if you are a person that's working on the front line, working in a warehouse, working in construction, working in law enforcement, first responders, all that stuff, those jobs are very demanding on people, on your body. And you can't do that for the rest of your life. And so just be aware. This is Representative Collins. I just want to make sure you guys know that you have some politicians that want everyone to go back to work. But one thing that we need to talk about when it comes to politicians, I used to do this all the time. Maybe I'll start doing it again. But these politicians are on recess an awful lot throughout the years. They don't work very often. Okay. And when they're on recess, okay, yeah, they're back in their home districts, but they're not doing the people's business. And the people's business is in Washington, D.C., voting on bills, having, holding hearings and all that stuff. They do that in Washington, D.C., but when they go back home, they have some time. They're not really, I wouldn't say they're working an 8-hour day. And if they are, show me. These politicians, show me your 8-hour day. But they have it good, but they're looking at everybody else and saying, you know what? You guys need to work. If you're receiving Medicaid and you're able-bodied, they haven't even defined that. What does able-bodied mean? How are they going to, do these people need to go to the doctor and the doctor needs to clear them so they can work? Like what is really going to happen here when it comes to this able-bodied? But if you're able-bodied, you should be working so you can receive Medicaid. And then I guess when it comes to Social Security disability, it's going to be the same thing. If you're able-bodied, I don't know what they're going to say about retirees receiving Social Security benefits. If you're able-bodied, you should go and work. So it's incredible what some politicians think. I mean, it really is. But I just wanted to show you guys that so you guys kind of get an idea of some of the politicians that are out there. Okay, now remember, you have politicians that do want to expand Social Security. You have those politicians out there, but you also have politicians that want to make cuts to Social Security. They want to raise the full retirement age. That's another thing. As far as talking about working, they want to raise that full retirement age up to 70. If you raise it up to 70, that means that you have to work longer. Most people will have to work longer because they're waiting for that Social Security. So a lot of people now, they can retire at 67. They can retire at 67 because they know they're going to be receiving Social Security, and then couple that with their retirement plan, and they'll be okay. But if you move it up from 67 to 70, and I would think that they're going to gradually move it up, it won't be right away. But if you move it up, then those, some people that could be in their 40s right now thinking, I want to retire. When am I going to be able to retire? They want to retire at 67, but if they move it up to 70, by the time they get to that age, it would be at 70. So they're not going to be able to retire at 67. And so there's a lot of important things that are going on right now with Social Security. And that's why I talk about it so much. It's very important because a lot of people will depend on Social Security to retire. And if you move that up just 3 years, it's going to impact them. If you start making cuts to Social Security, it's going to impact you. You've been paying into Social Security your whole life. And you have to think of it this way. Social Security is insurance. That's what it is. If you get injured on the job, you can apply for Social Security disability, as well as you're paying in with your contribution, your FICA contribution, you're paying into the system. So when you get 67, you can retire and receive receive a pension for the rest of your life. So it's a security. That's why we're contributing. But some politicians want to do away with it. I don't know if Representative Collins is one of them, but some politicians want to privatize Social Security. Why do we have this big, what they call entitlement program? We need to do away with that. We need to privatize it. Allow people to invest in the stock market with FICA, with that FICA money. But the big problem with letting people invest the FICA money is that FICA money is not going to the trust funds to help pay out benefits. That's where it is right now. 6.2%, that's what you contribute. Your employer matches that 6.2%. That's the FICA contributions. Those go to the trust funds and help pay out benefits. If you start messing around with FICA and say, okay, we'll take a portion of that. We'll take a portion and you can go ahead and invest it on your own. Well, now you're taking money from FICA, and that money won't go to the trust fund to help pay out benefits. And the trust funds will deplete much sooner. That 8-year window that we're looking at right now, it'll be sooner than that. So I just wanted to show you guys this. Like I told you, I want to, educate you guys on different politicians and how they feel about Social Security. I think it's very, very important because we're coming down to the last few years before they can reform Social Security. They have to reform Social Security in 8 years. If they don't, then we're going to see a cut across the board of about 23% because the trust funds will be depleted at that point. And so it is crucial that we elect the right people in office that can make changes to Social Security that will benefit those people who are receiving Social Security. So I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.